So I've been doing ministry now for about 5 or 6 years. And one of my favorite things is when someone who knows I'm a minister and grew up in a Christian home or grew up calling themselves a Christian comes up to me and says, well, you know I'm a Christian, but I'm about to do blank. You know I'm a Christian, but I say these things. You know I'm a Christian, but I like this. And every single time, I'm like, who told you what a Christian is? Is a Christian somebody who has a certain list of doctrinal beliefs? Is a Christian somebody who said a certain prayer? Is a Christian somebody who checks that box of religious affiliation on their voter registration? Is a Christian somebody who goes to a certain type of church? Is a Christian someone who just goes to church on Sundays? Is a Christian someone who puts Christian in their Instagram bio? Is a Christian someone who avoids those people? Is a Christian someone who doesn't do those things? Or is there something more to it? See, I was presented with all of these ideas about what a Christian is. And when I got into the scriptures, when I got into the history, I realized that my whole idea of what a Christian is needed to be represented. And maybe yours does too. The word Christian just means little Christ. Yeah, it's that simple. A Christian then is someone who lives a life like Jesus, someone who aligns their life in the way of Jesus. A Christian is someone who gives themselves recklessly for the sake of their sisters and brothers. A Christian is someone who loves big and loves well. A Christian is someone who gives grace to the disgraceful, who invites the uninvited, who gives forgiveness to the unforgivable. A Christian is someone who's willing to die, not just for their friends, but also for their enemies. A Christian is someone who lives like Jesus did. Now let's get something straight. A Christian is not perfect. A Christian is not someone who is Christ. A Christian is someone who is on an imperfect journey to become like Christ. But where did that word come from? Where did the word Christian even start? Who decided to give themselves that label? When did people start calling themselves Christians? There's a story in the book of Acts. It's a really awesome story where the believers in Jesus, the people who've aligned their lives with the way of Christ, have been scattered all across the Middle East. And there's a story in Acts 11 where they're in this city called Antioch. It says in Antioch, they were gathering together, they were eating with each other, they were taking care of each other, and they were inviting in the people who they lived their entire lives hating. They were inviting in the people who they had been told to avoid their entire lives. And in Acts 11, it says this really cool thing. It says, it was there in Antioch where they were first called Christians. One version even says it was there in Antioch where they were first given the label Christian. So what if it's not our job to call ourselves Christians? What if our job is to live a life like Christ? A life of self-sacrifice, a life of reckless giving, a life of reckless invitation and forgiveness and grace. And people can call us what they want. Some will call you foolish. Some will call you stupid. Some will judge you. Some will tell you you'll never make it in life. But others will see and they will call you a Christian. And they'll want to know what it's about. So I'll leave you with this. There was this emperor in the 3rd century who really hated the Christians. And he wrote 3 volumes of books against the Christians. It was called Against the Galileans was his book. His name was Emperor Julian. Emperor Julian wrote in his book that the Romans were going to have to do something about the Christians. They said the Christians have been taking care of not just their own poor, but the poor of everyone else too, our poor. And Rome actually implemented a welfare program, a very broken welfare program, during the 3rd century so that they could combat the work that Christians were doing. What happens when Christians stop calling themselves Christians and start living like Christians? I can tell you. People who know nothing about Jesus start doing the work of Christ. Whoa. So we just want to represent to you that a Christian is someone who represents Christ. Maybe you have been a Christian and didn't even know it.